wants to be the most successful person in life? No one? I mean, when I say successful, I don't mean just material, I mean spiritual as well. So I'm assuming if you are spiritually successful, you are automatically very successful materially. Do you agree? Yeah. Okay. So let's learn how we can be the most successful devotee of Krishna. So today we will discuss Bhagavad Gita verse 934. That is from the chapter The Most Confidential Knowledge, and the verse is number 34. Okay, you all can repeat after me. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mama eva shashi yuktevyam Atmanam madparayana. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mama eva shashi yuktevyam Atmanam madparayana. Any Prabhus or Mataji would like to recite the verse? Go ahead.
Manmana bhava madbhakto
Manmana bhava madbhakto
madhyaji mam namaskuru.
madhyaji mam namaskuru.
Mame vishyasi yuktvevam
Mame vishyasi yuktevyam
atmanam madparayana.
Atmanam madparayana. Anyone else?
Manmana bhava madbhakto
Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mame vishyasi yuktevyam Atmanam madparayana. Any Prabhus?
Manmana bhava madbhakto
madhyaji mam namaskuru. Mame vishyasi yuktevyam Atmanam madparayana. Thank you, everyone. So when you see is Manmana, always think of me. Bhava, become. Mat, my. Bhakta, devotee. Mat, my. Yaji, worshipper. Mam, unto me. Namaskuru, offer obeisances. Mam, unto me. Eva, completely. Especially, you will come. Yuktva, being absorbed. Evam, thus. Atmanam, your soul. Madparayana, devoted to me. Thank you. So we read so translation purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me and worship me, being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So if there are any volunteers to read purports, I can read the first paragraph and maybe kids can read the subsequent ones. In this verse, it is clearly indicated that Krishna consciousness is the only means of being delivered from the clutches of this contaminated material world. Sometimes unscriptural commentators distort the meaning of what is clearly stated here, that all devotional service should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Unfortunately, unscriptural commentators divert the mind of the reader to that which is not at all feasible. Such commentators do not know that there is no difference between Krishna's mind and Krishna. Krishna is not an ordinary human being. He is absolute truth. His body, his mind, and himself are one and absolute. It is stated here in the Kurma Purana, as it is quoted by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami in his Anubhashya comments on Chaitanya Charitamrita. Deha Dehi Videvo Ayam Neswara Vidyate Kvachit. This means that there is no difference in Krishna, the Supreme Lord, between himself and his body. But because the commentators do not know this science of Krishna, they hide Krishna and divide his personality from his mind or from his body. Although this sheer ignorance of the science of Krishna, some men make profit out of misleading people.
There are also some who are demoniac. They also think of Krishna, but enviously, just like the king Kamsa, Krishna's uncle. He was also thinking of Krishna always, but he thought of Krishna as his enemy. He was always in anxiety, wondering when Krishna would come to kill him. That kind of thinking will not help us. One should be thinking of Krishna in devotional love. That is bhakti. One should cultivate the knowledge of Krishna continuously. What is that favorable cultivation? It is to learn from a bona fide teacher. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God, and we have several times explained that his body is not material, but eternal, blissful knowledge. This kind of talk about Krishna will help one become a devotee. Understanding Krishna otherwise, from the wrong source, would prove fruitless.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Next person.
One should therefore engage his mind in the eternal form, the primal form of Krishna, with conviction in his heart that Krishna is the Supreme. He should engage himself in worship. There are hundreds of thousands of temples in India for the worship of Krishna, and devotional service is practiced there. When such practice is made, one has to offer obeisances to Krishna. One should lower his head before the deity and engage his mind, his body, his activities, everything. That will make one fully absorbed in Krishna without deviation. This will help one transfer to Krishna Loka. One should not be deviated by unscrupulous commentators. One must engage in the 9 different processes of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting about Krishna. Pure devotional service is the highest achievement of human society.
Thank you so much, Mandaji. Anyone else for the next panel?
The 7th and 8th chapters of Bhagavad Gita have explained pure devotional service to the Lord that is free from speculative knowledge, mystic yoga, and fruitive activities. Those who are not purely sanctified may be attracted by different features of the Lord, like the impersonal Brahmajyoti and localized Paramatma. But a pure devotee directly takes to the service of the Supreme Lord.
Thank you. I think I just read the last one. There is a beautiful poem about Krishna in which it is clearly stated that any person who is engaged in the worship of demigods is most unintelligent and cannot achieve at any time the supreme award of Krishna. The devotee in the beginning may sometimes fall from the standard, but still he should be considered superior to all other philosophers and yogis. One who always engages in Krishna consciousness should be understood to be a perfectly saintly person. His accidental non-devotional activities will diminish, and he will soon be situated without any doubt in complete perfection. The pure devotee has no actual chance to fall down because the Supreme Godhead personally takes care of his pure devotees. Therefore, the intelligent person should take directly to the process of Krishna consciousness and happily live in this material world. He will eventually receive the supreme award of Krishna. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purpose to the 9th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of the most confidential knowledge. Thank you everyone for your help in reading the purport. So, Manmana Bhav Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mama Engleshyasi Yukte Atmanama Parayana. Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisance to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in, surely you will come to me. So I will not go into the background, why Bhagavad Gita was spoken, what happened. I think everyone is aware of that. Why did Lord Krishna speak? And this is the instruction is given to Arjuna. And this verse is the most important instruction of Bhagavad Gita, and it is considered to be the essence of Bhagavad Gita by our various acharyas. Now let's Again, while concluding the instructions to Arjuna, Lord Krishna also repeats the same verse in chapter 18.65. So first line is the same and the second line says, I'm telling this to you because you are very dear to me. So sometimes, if you want to stress certain thing, we repeat it twice and then we say, hey, I'm telling you this because you are very dear to me, so that the person listens, he follows the instructions. So we can understand how important this verse is. This is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. And Lord Krishna is so merciful, so that by instructing Arjuna, and he is speaking Bhagavad Gita, he has given protection to the whole world. He has given us like a manual through which we can live our life. He has given us these instructions. So what is Bhagavad Gita? There are so many Upanishads, right? There are so many Vedas, Upanishads and all that. And Bhagavad Gita is considered the essence of all Upanishads. So in Gita Mahatmya it is mentioned that, let's say if you see that if all Upanishads are compared to a cow, right? And Krishna is a cowherd boy who is milking the cow. What does the cow give? The most important thing a cow gives is milk. So here the most important thing from all the Upanishads Krishna is milking is the message of Bhagavad Gita. And who is receiving that Bhagavad Gita message? Is Arjuna in the form of a cow. So by speaking to Arjuna, Lord Krishna has given us the protection. So now let's understand the instructions, right? Before we go there, right? So I said Bhagavad Gita is essence of all Upanishads. Bhagavad Gita, how many chapters are there in Bhagavad Gita? Only for kids. Not Mataji's, only for kids. How many chapters are there in Bhagavad Gita? Huh? There you go, that's good. So if I divide by 3, what do I get? 6 each, right? So the middle 6 chapters, chapters 7 through 12, they are considered the essence of Bhagavad Gita, right? Because they talk about Bhakti Yoga. Because Krishna said at the end of the day, Bhakti Yoga is the supreme position, is the supreme position of all the yoga system. Now within those chapters 7 to 12, the chapter 9 and 10 are like the essence of Bhakti Yoga section. Now within that chapter 9, the last verse, 9.34, which is right in the middle of Bhagavad Gita, 9.34. There are total 18 chapters. You divide by half, you get 9. And the last verse of the Bhagavad Gita, that is the essence of the essence of the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. The reason I chose this verse is because I'm a very lazy person, right? I don't like to read so much. It's like, when we want to understand something, everything is like, tell me what is the most important thing, right? I understand everything, but tell me what should I do. So I thought, yes, this fits very well to my personality, so I chose this verse. So, again, as I said, that this is so important. Krishna again repeats in the chapter 18, verse number 65. So, in this verse, Lord Krishna has given us 4 instructions. What are those 4 instructions? Anyone? Manmana Bhava, always think of me, become my devotee, and worship me, become my devotee, and offer obeisances unto me, right? So, and he promises that if you do this, you will surely come to me. And Krishna never breaks his promise. He might play with us, he likes to play. Krishna doesn't like, easy going. He likes drama. He wants to change channel, right? He likes drama. So he'll play with us, but he'll always keep his promise. Right? So what do you mean by, always think of me, become my devotee? 2 parts. Always think of me, become my devotee. So that is eternal, that is your mind. That's your subtle body. Right? So you think of Krishna, you become his devotee. Externally, he says, you worship me, right? You worship me, we do the puja, we do archana and all that. And then he says, offer obeisances, repay dhanvat, right? So that is external. So it's bhakti with internal body and external body, right? There's a subtle body and a gross body. So it's like, you cannot just say, I'm just going to think of Krishna, I will not do anything, right? Or you can say, I will just do something, but I will not think of Krishna. So it doesn't work like that. So bhakti is not an emotion. It is an emotion along with action. So it is a devotion. It's not just a devotion, it's a devotional service. So you just cannot do, I do this part but not this part. So it is combination of both. Subtle body as well as gross body. So you have to engage both in the service of Krishna. Right? Again, this verse is a concise statement of Krishna consciousness. This particular verse is a concise statement of Krishna consciousness. It establishes the supreme position of bhakti. And bhakti purifies whoever comes in contact with the bhakti. Bhakti doesn't discriminate. Like, oh, he is poor, he is rich, or he does nice bhakti, he's young. Bhakti does not discriminate. Bhakti is like a river Ganga flowing through. Whoever comes in contact with the bhakti gets purified. And again, Lord Krishna says, anyone who does this, he will come to me. So Krishna doesn't say, Arjuna, you are Kshatriya, so you will come to me. Only Brahmanas, only men, only women, only children, only black, white, American, Indian. Everyone can come to Krishna, can go to Krishna if they perform these 4 activities. Right? So why does Krishna says, some might think like Manmana Bhav Mad Bhakto. Why 2 statements? Right? When you say devotees will always think of Krishna. Right? But just thinking doesn't help, as I said. Let's say, Mother Devaki, she was thinking of Krishna out of love. Mother Yashoda was thinking of Krishna out of love. But Kansa, he was also thinking of Krishna. He was always thinking of Krishna, but he was thinking out of fear. He was thinking, though, Krishna will come and kill me because there was a prophecy that a child of Devaki is going to come and kill Kansa. Again, Shishupal, he was also thinking of Krishna, but that was out of jealousy. So we have to think of Krishna with love. We have to think of Krishna with affection. We have to think of Krishna with devotion. Just thinking doesn't help. Right? I might, it happens sometimes. Sometimes we think of someone and we have negative emotions. That doesn't help. So you have to think of Krishna with positive emotions, with love, with devotion, with affection. Again, thinking of Krishna is not just an exercise of memory. Like, let's say kids, sometimes if you have exams, you memorize certain things, but you don't like it, right? Do you really like to study so much? Parents they won't pay attention. You can speak the truth, right? So you are doing it because it is your obligation. Right? If you get below 95, then what happens at home? Right? So it's not an. So you're doing it as an obligation, whereas bhakti or thinking of Krishna is not an obligation. It is a natural position. We are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, and we are servants of Krishna. You like it or not, we are servants of Krishna, and it is natural for us to think of Krishna. As a servant, what is let's say if you are serving someone, what will be your intention if you are serving someone? To please them, right? So if I want to serve Krishna, my intention is to please Krishna, right? Again, please Krishna with the things which are favorable to Krishna, right? So when the soul achieves the pure consciousness, it will naturally think of Krishna. It will naturally serve Krishna. So I guess it is our constitutional position to serve Krishna. It comes naturally to us. It's just a question of reviving that love for Krishna. As I said, it is not just an exercise of memory. It is not like a mechanical exercise, right? Okay, I need to think of Krishna. I cannot think of anything else. No, it's not like that. It has to come with emotion. It has to come from within. Now, bhakti, right? When we do worship, we offer agarbatti, we offer diya, we offer so many other things. So bhakti is not just an offering of things. We could be offering fruits, we could be offering flowers, we could be offering nicely prepared prasadam. But bhakti is not just offering that. You have to offer yourself. You have to surrender yourself to Krishna. We are, as I said, we belong to Krishna. We are part and parcel of Krishna. So it is natural for us to serve Krishna. And Krishna also loves us so much. At the end of the day, He wants us to be there with Him and be with Him in His eternal association, not to come down here. So now, I guess, so we spent some time on understanding the instructions, right? What are the instructions?
People might worship me, they obeisances.
Right. So I guess our instructions very clear to everyone?
Yes.
It's very simple, right? So now the question is, we got the instructions, right? How do we implement those instructions? What should we do? How do we train our mind? How do we train ourselves so that we are able to implement these instructions in our life and serve devotees, serve Krishna, at the end of the day, reach the destination that we are supposed to be here. So as I said, these are very simple instructions, even implementing those instructions is also very simple process. It is just like ABCD, like any child who is, starts going to school, what's the first thing they do? They start learning ABCD. And it's only first four letters, ABCD. I mean, yes, you can learn A to Z, but for implementing these instructions, it's just first four letters of alphabet, ABCD. Yes, bro. Yes, bro. So think of this as we go to doctors sometimes for just for the health checkup. Doctors say, oh, you have deficiency of vitamin D, you should take vitamin B, you should take vitamin D, vitamin C. So think of this as a spiritual vitamin A, B, C, D. Right? So let's discuss what are those vitamins, right? So the first one is spiritual vitamin A. Prabhuji nicely mentioned association, right? So what kind of association? Devotee association, right? In India we say Jaisi Sangat, Aisi Rangat. Right? So a person is influenced by the people he associates with. Even as a parent, right, in practical world, we want to make sure wherever our kids go in high school or their friends, we want to make sure they are in good association, right? Even like in school or college, even at work. I guess work-wise, we want to have people, those who want to learn certain things, those who want to grow in a particular area, they would like to associate with those who are excelling in those fields, right? So everyone wants to have good, even materially it is so important. Imagine spiritually how benefit this could be. Having a right association, having association of devotees. Even like in Chaitanya Chaitamrita in the Madhya Lila, right? It is mentioned that if you know the verse, you can recite me. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Samskriti, Lava Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Right, so let's just read the translation here. The verdict of all various scriptures is that by even a moment's association with a pure devotee, one can attain all success. I guess we all have personally experienced this, I believe. Last weekend when Amrendra Prabhu was here, so when we were here in association, Amrendra Prabhu is speaking so nicely about pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Being here in Round Rock, I'm sure we were transported back to Vrindavan. We all felt that, right? So that is the power of a pure Vaishnava or pure sadhu, right? So even a moment's association can change someone's life. We have so many senior Vaishnavas visit here. His Holiness Vedvyas Priya Maharaj, His Holiness Indrarudra Maharaj. We all go to see our Guru Maharaj and see different sadhus, and we have experienced the impact of their association. So the association of devotees is very important. Now, what do devotees do when they associate?
They talk about
Krishna Gatha, right? Anything else? Talk about stock market. I might do that. Talk about scriptures, right? So basically, right, when devotees meet, they relish Krishna Katha, they discuss Krishna Katha. They also sometimes they discuss this is the difficulty I'm facing, how can I improve on that? So they help each other to progress in Krishna consciousness, right? So the devotee association is very important. I would like to, even the sages have pointed out that association with a pure devotee, even less than a second, is beyond comparison to 1,000 Vedic rituals and sacrifices, elevation to heavenly planets, or merging into the existence of the Supreme. So the association with a pure devotee is considered much higher by our scriptures and all that. So to stress the importance of what happens when you associate with the, I would like to tell a small story. I'm sure many of you know about this story about Ratnakar. Meeting of Ratnakar with Narad Muni. As Ratnakar, he was a thief. He did not hesitate to kill anyone, to steal money from the travelers. So on those times, people would travel to the forest and he would hide in the forest and he would try and rob those people who are going through the forest. He would in fact kill them. And he would never think even for a second before killing them, because he thinks, I'm doing this to take care of my family. So there is no sin in this. Right? I'm feeding my family, I'm nicely taking care of my parents, I'm nicely taking care of my wife is very happy. I'm nicely taking care of my kids. So I can kill anyone as long as I'm using that money to take care of that. So he used to, and he was, he never hesitated even for a moment to kill those people, whoever would come in the forest and would loot them. He would steal everything from them, gold, money, whatever he could find. So one day Narad Muni was passing through the forest. And Narad Muni, as usual, he only has Veena, he doesn't have anything else. So Ratnakar sees him, he said, man, this guy is having a Veena, I'm sure there's something in the Veena. How can he has nothing else? So he attacks Narad Muni and tries to catch Narad Muni and say, what do you have? Narad says, I have nothing. No, I am a sadhu, I have nothing. He said, are you sure you have something in the Veena? Narad says, I don't, if you like it, you can take it. Narad Muni says. So he said, okay, give me the Veena. So now the Ratnakar thinks, how come he is not afraid of me? Earlier, whoever I have caught, they were always very afraid of me. How come this person is not afraid? I'm sure he's hiding something from me. So Narad Muni tells him, he said, I'm going to kill you. He tries to scare Narad Muni. Narad Muni says, you can kill me, but I'm going to ask you one question. You are incurring a lot of sins by killing me. He said, no, I don't care. I'm doing this for my family, and I know as long as I'm taking care of my family is happy, I'm not incurring any sins. Nothing is going to happen to them. So Narad says, okay, you can kill me, no problem, but let me ask you one question. He said, yes, go ahead. What is the question? So he says, you go home, anyway, you are incurring a lot of sins, but you don't believe it. You go home and ask your parents, ask your wife, ask your kids if they are going to share your sins. Will they take the burden of your sins? So he said, why not? They will take. He said, no, you go and ask them. He says, okay, I'm going to go and ask them. But he says, but what if you run away? He said, no, I will not run away. So he ties Narad Muni to a tree and then he goes home. Right? So first he approaches his parents. He says, he talks to his father and he says, Dad, I'm taking care of you from so many years as a very obedient son. I'm providing you everything. I've made sure you don't have any trouble. So the question you know what I do, right? I kill people, I steal so many things, and I incur so many sins. Will you take the burden of my sins? So his father says, you are a fool. You are my son, it is your duty to take care of me. Why would I incur your sins? It is your sins, it's your problem. You take care of it. I don't want anything of that. So he is disappointed. He feels bad, but since his father, he doesn't argue with his father. So then he goes to his dear wife. So again he says, my dear wife, I want to ask you one question. His wife says, yeah, sure, go ahead, what is it? He says, I give you so many things. I give you gold, I give you jewelries, I make sure I give you nice dresses, nice saris. But in order to provide all that, I commit so many sins. And I have a question for you. Will you take the burden of my sins? His wife says, no, you are my husband and I am dependent on you and you are supposed to take care of me. So, it's your sins, it's your problem. I am not going to take burden of your sins. So he's very disappointed now, right? So he says, okay, let me ask my kids. So he goes to his kids and he asks them the same question. He says, my dear kids, he says, yes, Dad, very affectionately and all that. And then he says, you know what I do, right? I provide you all these beautiful garments, I get you whatever you want, I get you nice sweets, and for that I commit a lot of sins. Will you take the burden of your sins? Burden of my sins, will you share it? The way you share my wealth, will you share my sins? Again, the son gives the same reply. The son says, you are my dad, you are supposed to take care of me. You chose to commit sins. You could have done something else, but it's your choice, so it's your problem. Why should we share this? So now he's very disappointed. Right? There's a switch has turned on in his brain, what I've been doing, what I was thinking. So next day he goes to the forest, he goes to the place where he had tied Narad Muni around the tree. So he opens the rope and all that. He falls at the feet of Narad Muni. He said, you are so right. Unknowingly, I was ignorant. I was committing so many sins, and I was thinking that as long as I'm using all this to take care of my families, I won't have any burdens, and my family will be there with me, in sharing my sins. But they don't want any part of that. What should I do? So that's where Narad Muni tells him, you chant. He said, how do I get rid of my sins now? That's a big problem. How do I don't think so. I've committed so many sins. I don't think so I can get rid of sins in this lifetime. I don't want to go to hell. What should I do? So Narad Muni says, very simple. You chant the name of Ram. Now, since he was so ignorant and he always killing animals, so he said, why don't you sit down and try chanting Ram? So he was so used to this killing people and killing animals. He chants. He tried Ram Ram, but it was very difficult. So he says Mara 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 Mara, and ultimately it became Ram Ram Ram. Then Narad Muni leaves, and after some time when he comes back, there is an anthill formed around him, around Ratnakar, and that's why it's called Valmiki. It's called Valmiki, and then he ends up writing Ramayana and all. So just wanted to illustrate the power of association of a pure sadhu. Right, a life of hunter is transformed into Valmiki, and he wrote a beautiful Ramayana. Right. So we did A. A is association of devotees. What does spiritual vitamin D stands for? There you go. You are very smart. Thank you for that. So we are very, very fortunate. Srila Prabhupada has given us so many books. Imagine if these books were not here. These books were written in Sanskrit. I guess I don't know Sanskrit. And Prabhupada made our work very easy. He came to US. Maybe he knew down the line a lot of people are going to come here from India. So let me write or translate all these books in Sanskrit. And Prabhupada has written so many books. Just to give an example, so how many verses are there in Bhagavad Gita?
7.
How about Srimad Bhagavatam? 18,000. How about Chaitanya Charitamrita? 11,000. So just by thinking of the number, I'm like, oh, when am I going to read all this? So imagine writing this. Not just writing the words, writing the translation, explaining the purport. Prabhupada put his blood into it. He has spent so much time, even during his final days also, he would still write. He would sleep hardly for a few hours, and he would always write. So now when we read books, what do we get, right? I guess, let's go back to the instruction. Krishna says, always think of me. So, why will you think of someone? Right? If you want to think about someone, you need to do the quality of that person, right? So it is Nam, Roop, Gun, Leela. So you get all these things from the books that Prabhupada has given. So when you read these books, you learn about Krishna's Nam, the glories of Krishna's name. You learn about Krishna's Rupa, how beautiful Krishna. Look at Radha Kunj we have here, how beautiful they look. Right? And then you learn about Guna. What are the characteristics of Krishna? And what are the pastimes? So when you know of all these qualities, Nam, Rup, Guna, then it's easy for you to focus on Krishna. And Prabhupada has made it very easy for us via those books. So we are very, very fortunate. Very, very fortunate, I would say. And just to illustrate the power of books, right? There are so many stories. If you go online, you read, there are so many stories where people's lives have changed after reading Prabhupada books. So, we have a very successful program here called Motel Gita. Thanks to Mahasundari Mataji and Rupsagar Prabhu, we have this project called Motel Gita, where we go and place Bhagavad Gita in different motels. If you go to hotels, sometimes you'll find Bible. So same way we place Motel Gita. So this has been going on from, I think, 12, 15 years. This is called initiative, it's called Motel Gita. So there was one incident, one person checked into a hotel and he wanted to commit suicide. Right? There are so many things going around, and I don't know the exact location, but this is a true story where it happened. So he checked into a hotel to commit suicide, and he happened to, there was a book in the room. Right? So he started reading the book. He read the book for the whole night. He didn't sleep. So next day when he checked out, he told the receptionist at the counter, I checked into this hotel to commit suicide, but after reading this Bhagavad Gita, my mind changed. And can I take this copy? So this is the power of the books. Even recently, I was checking online, and there's a war going on in Ukraine, right? So their books are flying because it's a big time of distress, and a lot of people they are seeking higher knowledge. So there was one incident. This was something that Niranjan Maharaj, he was talking to another devotee. So there was a group of devotees. They were cooking prasad, kind of food for life. So they would cook the prasad, and then they would go to one particular place, and they will distribute prasad, and they will also distribute books along with it. So they cook prasad. So devotees cooked all the prasad and everything. They loaded in the van, and they drove to the place where they want to distribute the prasad and the books. So, but when they reached there, they realized the books are not there in the car, in the van. So one devotee pointed, hey, we forgot the books, let's go and get the books. So they go back to get the books. And when they come back to the same place, they realized, a missile had struck that place and certain people had died there. Luckily, all the devotees, they forgot the books, so they had to go back to get the books and they survived. I mean, this is a miracle, only Lord Krishna can do that, Prabhupada can do that. It's difficult, there's also one story about one criminal. I think this is somewhere in Australia and New Zealand, right? So, I don't remember the exact location. You can find out if you want to know more. If you go to iskonbookdistribution.com, on that there are a lot of stories about book distribution. It's a very, very simple story. People are distributing books on the street. There's one incident in India where a devotee was distributing books, and someone gets a copy of Bhagavad Gita from him but doesn't pay him, and he just walks away. And this devotee somehow he cannot catch him, or this person is donizing, this book without giving donation. There's nothing wrong in that, because maybe that person may not have money, but it is etiquette. If someone gives you anything, especially spiritual, you give some donation to that person. So this devotee said, okay, fine. But then after some time, when gentleman approached, he just gave 200 rupees donation. He did not take the book, but he just gave 200 rupees donation. Like, even let's say there's an incident in Sydney or I think Melbourne or another. So one devotee was distributing books, right? So one young man approached, and he took the book and he just scribbled on the book. He spoiled the book and just threw the book and ran out. So this devotee, he also felt bad, and he said certain things. He chased after him, but this guy went away. He went away, right? But after some time, this person returns, and he apologizes. He said, "I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have done this." And he gives a lot of Lakshmi. He takes the same book, and he also started associating with them. So this is the power of books. Books have transformed lives. Srila Prabhupada books gives us hope. They gives us hope. In this material world, I guess, we all are part of this. We have to do our duty to maintain our family, to provide for our family. But at the end of the day, sometimes things work out, sometimes things don't work out. Right? We expect certain things. We don't get that thing. We get disappointed. But that time, the books give us all. Prabhupada books. So we are done with spiritual vitamin A, spiritual vitamin B. Now what is the spiritual vitamin C? There you go. I think I can just wrap up my class. It's good. Everyone is that's very nice. Nice to hear that. Right, chanting, right? So chanting of the holy name, right? So in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna questions Lord Krishna. Okay, you are talking about controlling the mind, but controlling mind is so difficult. It's easier to, maybe you can control wind, but you cannot control mind. So Krishna says, all right, you can do it, but it requires discipline, it requires regular practice. So same thing, right? I personally get this difficulty when I'm chanting, right? But don't give up, just keep on chanting. One day that day will come. Keep on chanting. So our mind thinks I am the controller. I am the enjoyer. Everyone else is there to serve me. Their job is to serve me. That's what our mind thinks. That's where all the problem happens. So mantra, we call it Maha Mantra, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So mantra, this mantra, if you like, it is Sanskrit, if you do man and kra, right, it's nothing but controlling the mind. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, in the Madhya Leela, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what is the most important thing that devotees should do? I guess everyone knows this. Let's all chant together. Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Kalo Right, so in this age of Kali, right, in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. So here it's repeated 3 times. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. So I guess it's very self-explanatory here. The chanting of the holy name is the most important thing we can do in this age of Kali. Even to further illustrate, right? I mean, it's Hari. So Hari Kirtan is very, very important. Even in Srimad Bhagavatam, in verse in chapter 12, in Canto 12, chapter 3, right? So this is where Sukadeva Goswami is talking to Parikshit Maharaj, and he's talking about different qualities of Kali Yuga. Not qualities, he's talking about how the degradation happens in Kali Yuga. And he says, Kali Yuga has so many faults. But the good thing is, there is one very good thing, that is chanting of the holy name. Right? And through the chanting of the holy name, devotees can go back to Krishna. They can achieve the highest benediction. And so what is that verse? Let's go there. Yes. I don't have it for you. Okay, I can just recite it. Kalayidusha Nidhi Raja Asti Eko Mahan Guna Kirtana Deva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Bhaje Kriteya Dhayato Vishnu Kretayam Yajito Mate Dvapare Paricharyam Kalo Tadai Kirtana. The most important factor in this age of Kali, which is an ocean of faults, is that one can be free from all contamination and become eligible to enter the kingdom of God simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. The self-realization that was achieved in Satya Yuga by meditation, in Treta Yuga by performance of different sacrifices, and in the Dwapar millennium by worship of Lord Krishna can be achieved in the age of Kali simply by chanting the holy names of the Lord. So, and then let's take one example, right? So let's say you have a classroom. In a classroom there are different students. So some student might be very intelligent. They know everything. Teacher doesn't work very hard with them. But there are some students, they struggle to understand certain things. The teacher has to work very hard for them. So sometimes teacher will say, okay, don't worry. At least you do this. I'm sure you'll pass. So teacher doesn't expect much from you. Right? So I would like to tell one joke here. I mean, it's in Hindi. But I'll try and repeat for those who don't speak Hindi. So there was with this person. I mean, he would try a lot of things, but he was not successful materially, like educated, personal life as well as professional life. So he goes to Jyotish, right? So he goes to Jyotish. Jyotish is astrologer. Astrologer who see your hand and they tell you, right, okay, this is wrong, this is what you should be doing. So Jyotish says, everything is, I think I see Shani. There's an effect of Shani in your life, and it's very bad. So Jyotish, can you do something for me? So, yeah, I can do that for you, but you have to pay some money. He said, no problem, I'll do it. I think he said, yeah. He said, I'll pay you 500. I'll charge you 500 rupees. So this person says, I don't have 500. Okay, 400. So this person says, no, I don't even have 400. Then he says, okay, now 300. Okay, nothing less than 300. So this was, I don't even have 300 rupees. Then you say, okay, 250, nothing less than that, right? So this person says, no, I don't even have 250. So ultimately it comes down to 100. So this was like, okay, give me at least 50 rupees. I will do your Shani, Shanti, Puja, I'll do everything for you. Give me at least 50. So he said, I don't even have 50. Then Jose, you go. He said, tu ja rahe, tera Shani kya bigadega? There was kuch bhi nahi. Right? So it's like, our condition is like this, we are in a very worse situation, in a very bad degradation situation. So it's like, we don't have to perform tapasya, we don't have to do yajnas and all that. We just do the Harinam and our life will be perfect. So I would also like to, again, even in Shistashtakam, right, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions Cheto Darpan Varshan, right? So in our heart, we have been through, the soul has been through so many different lifetimes. In Bhagavad Gita, it mentions about 8.4 million species, right? So we have been through so many different lives, and ultimately somehow we have received human life. It's not somehow, I'm sure there is a lot of kripa, and that's why we received the human life. So the whole purpose of receiving human life is to Cheto Darpan, the cleansing of the heart. Lord Krishna is in our heart, but we cannot listen to him, we cannot feel it. When we do the cleansing of the heart while chanting the Maha Mantra, that's when we understand the presence of Krishna in our heart. Right? So that is the power of Maha Mantra. Right? Again, think of a dirty mirror, right? So let's say in the morning you are getting ready, you want to make sure I have nice tilak, everything is proper. You go to the mirror is not clear, you cannot see that. So you clean the mirror. Then you can see yourself very clearly. So that is the power of cleansing the heart, right? I would also like to listen. How much time am I? Another 10 minutes. Okay. So just a quick story on. I would like to talk about one story of very famous devotee from Gujarat. I'm a Gujarati, so I have to talk about someone from Gujarat. So this reminds me of Narsi Mehta. How many of you heard of Narsi Mehta? So he was a very famous devotee of Lord Krishna. He was I think he was born in a village, I think Taloja near Junagadh somewhere. This is about 1400 or 1500 century this happened. So I think his parents died very early, and he used to live with his brother. And then he was from the childhood, he was always inclined towards bhakti, and they were devotees of Lord Shiva. And Narsi Mehta, he was very good singer, he was very good poetic person, and he is known as the first Gujarati Kavi, Adi Kavi of Gujarat, right? First Gujarati Kavi. So he would write nice poems, write nice bhajans of Krishna. And so one time, this happens, so I think he's living with his brother, and down the line his brother's wife, he would object, this Narsi is doing nothing, he's just lying, he does nothing, and you have to work so hard. And it ultimately came to so much that Narsi Mehta and his wife, they left the house, they left home, right? And Narsi Mehta was very angry, he was distressed. So he went and meditated on Lord Shiva for almost like 7 days. And then Lord Shiva appeared. And Lord Shiva says, I am so happy with your tapasya, and I would like to give you one boon. What do you want? So Lord Shiva, Narsi Mehta said, no, he was very simple man, self-satisfied. He said, no, I don't want anything. I was depressed, I was not happy, so I was just singing nice glories of Lord Shiva. I was just doing that bhajan. So he said, no, I will give you something since I've come. He says, then Narsi Mehta wasn't sure. He said, okay, you give me whatever you like the most. Sometimes we don't know what to ask. So we say, whatever you desire, whatever you like to give me that. Right? It's like, especially when we go to a restaurant or something with some, let's say, your colleagues who are senior, like CEOs and all this. They'll order, you never been to that place. So you say, whatever you order, I will take. Right? Obviously, being a devotee, we'll make sure it's vegetarian and all that. So he ultimately, Lord Shiva says, I like Ras Leela of Radha and Krishna. So Narsi Mehta says, okay, even I want to see that. And so he's holding this, so he takes him to Vrindavan where Ras Leela is going on, and then he's holding the torch, Narsi Mehta. And he gets so mesmerized, he gets so absorbed in the Ras Leela, and his hand starts to burn, but he doesn't what do you call it, doesn't stop. He's just so absorbed in the Ras Leela. So seeing that thing, Lord Krishna is so pleased, and he gives a boon of bhakti, and he says, whenever you want, I will come. Whenever you call me, I will come. So fast forward. So he comes back to his village, and now he has found this new bhakti of Krishna, and he's going and chanting everywhere. He doesn't, because in olden days he is from a Brahmana family, so there used to be discrimination between upper caste and the lower caste family and all that. But Narsi Mehta never, like a true Vaishnava, he never discriminated between upper class and lower class and all that, and he would go and chant and dance with, do nice bhajans with even low caste people. And so people in the city, other brahmanas would not approve of this. They would not like, sir, this Narsi, what does he think of himself? He's not following etiquettes. He does whatever he likes to do. So in India, I guess a lot of Pitru stuff, right? A lot of time, we do this for the benefit of our ancestors who have passed. So it comes to Narsi Mehta's father had passed away a long time back. So I think there was some dispute between him and his brother. So his brother was a rich man. So his brother says, you what do you think of yourself? You are a very great devotee of Krishna. This time you do the shraddha. I am not going to do the shraddha. I will not pay anything. Let me see how you do the shraddha of your father. So Narsi Mehta says, no problem. If you tell me, I will do it. Right? And then so he finds one person to come and do the puja and all that. And now the day comes of the shraddha. So they have nothing in the house. There are no graves, nothing. So his wife was a very good wife. We always cooperate with Narsi Mehta in all these things and all that. And she says, now Brahmana is going to come. So there is one more thing. Since everyone was very jealous of him in the town, they wanted to tease him and all that. So somehow, the word goes out in the town that Narsi Mehta is doing the shraddha for his father, and they say Narsi Mehta will also come. So Narsi Mehta says, yeah, come. So ultimately, the whole village has been invited for that. Right? And Narsi Mehta, because they were pulling Narsi Mehta's legs, kind of thing. They say, we'll come, okay. So now the day comes. So his wife tells him, please go and get the grocery, at least get the butter and some flour, so I can make some sweets, some laddu, so that we can give it to Brahmana who will come. So he goes to shopping market, right? He goes to HEB, he goes to Walmart and all that, right? So Canadian grocery, 1% here. So he goes to market, so he goes to one store and he asks for. So everyone knows he's a very nice person. He's very sober and very soft-spoken and all that. So they welcome him. Yes, Narsi Mehta, how come he has him? So, I want some butter and some flour. So, yeah, no problem. I will give you. I have it. But, there is one problem. I don't have money. I can pay you later. I don't have money now. So then the shopkeeper says, then he starts thinking, and this guy never has any money. He'll take for free. Maybe I will never get my money. So, the flour was there, but there's a lizard fell in the flour. So I'm not sure. Now it has become in the ghee actually. So I cannot give you that poisonous ghee. So Narsi Mehta said, no problem. Then he goes to another store. Same story. Right? He asks for that, and the person, yeah, I have it. I'll give you. Then Narsi Mehta says, thank you so much, but I don't have money to give you. I'll give you in future when but I really need it for my start ceremony for my parent. So he says, same problem. Then he goes to another store, and that person was actually a devotee, and he would love Narsi Mehta's bhajan. So he said, he said, yeah, sure, I am so fortunate, Narsi Mehta, you came here. It is my fortune that I'm getting a chance to serve a pure devotee like you. So then Narsi Mehta, so he gives butter and everything. So Narsi Mehta says, I don't have money, I can pay. He said, no problem. Instead of money, why don't you sing some nice bhajans? Right? So Narsi Mehta starts singing bhajan of Krishna. And when he starts, he doesn't stop. Right? So he starts singing bhajans of Krishna, beautiful bhajans. He has composed so many bhajans. One of them is Vaishnava Janto Tenere Kaiye Pida Parai Na Jane. So this is he's glorifying the Vaishnava. Vaishnavas, they understand the distress of others. Like Pardukhe Dukhi. It's not Pardukhe Sukhi. So I remember in India, when we bought one color TV. So it was Onida. And the slogan of Onida was, neighbors envy, owners pride. So even Mahatma Gandhi, a lot of freedom fighters, this was their favorite bhajan because Narsi Mehta never discriminated between caste and all that. He would always go and sing bhajan wherever he is invited. So it was very, very favorite of a lot of freedom fighters as well, that bhajan. So Narsi Mehta starts singing and his wife is waiting there. Or this person has not come. He's always like this, whenever he goes, all these Prabhus, they never come on time. Right? After they say that. So then now his wife is really, people have started coming. So his wife is really worried. So he goes and he prays to Krishna. Say, oh Nath, oh Krishna, please, help us. Your Bhakt Narsi Mehta, how is he? You only know what he does. So now in Vishnu Loka, right, in Golok Vrindavan, Krishna is like, I have to do something now. He said, Rukmani Uddhav, let's go. Right, so Krishna comes down with all his associates. Right? He comes down and he comes in the form of Narsi Mehta. Krishna comes in the form of Narsi Mehta and all his associates come in the form of different cooks and they carry all the paraphernalia, everything, so nice, they come and put the nice tent and all that. And so Krishna in the form of Narsi Mehta, he goes to his wife. Right? So his wife said, where have you been? I've been waiting for you so long now. Is the time to come? He said, okay, we'll talk about this later. Can we, the guests have come, the cooking is going on, can we get going with the ceremony? So she's like surprised, what happened? Then he sees, there's a nice tent outside, it's nice cooking is going on, everything is in place, and now the news, the broadcast is broadcasted all over the city, town, right, village. So everyone comes, oh, this Narsi Mehta is really, he must have really, he fooled one very rich man, he must have done something, that's how we got all this thing, but let's go, at least the food is, the aroma spreads all over. Imagine, right, Rukmani Devi cooking, Satyabhama cooking, everyone is cooking. So how that food will be, right? So they are all like mesmerized, they all come to his place to eat. There is a nice tent and everything, they all sit down and eat. So they all have come, then Narsi Mehta again, Krishna in the form of Narsi Mehta, he goes to his wife. I forgot the name of his wife, some very nice name. He says, Methi, right? He said, yeah, Methi, can you go and get those gold plates? She's wondering. I gave him, earlier I had given him a nose ring because he did not have any money. And now he's saying we have gold plates in the house. So she's like, anyway, I'll talk to him afterwards. Let me just go now. Right? So then she goes in the house where there is a small Laddu Gopal, So this is like, stack of gold plates. So then she thinks maybe there's something going on. I don't know. I'll talk to him afterwards. So then he gets everything, they get all the plate, everything is good. So everyone sits down, they start eating. Then first the men come and then the wife come. Right? So when the wife come, so I think the men go and tell them, right? You make sure you go there, tell them if they need any help, right? Don't just go and eat there. Make sure you tell them you need any help. So they come and say, okay, do you need any help with cooking? So Narsi Mehta says, Krishna. So Krishna says, they want to help, but they cannot look at their clothes. They cannot just help in this ordinary clothes. Can you go inside and get those, saris with nice gold threads and all that? So his wife is wondering, I have hardly 2-3 saris and now he wants to give them saris with gold threads and all that. Right? So she understood there's something going on, right? So she again goes inside, there's a stack of all the saris and all that, and she brings out, so everyone wears their saris and all that. And once the eating is done, so now all the brahmanas say, what do we do with these plates now? So again, Krishna in the form of Narsi says, no, we don't take used plates, you all take it with you. We don't need that. You take all the paraphernalia with you, we don't need that. So they are very happily taking everything, right? So now everything is done. So now then Krishna in the form of Sudama comes to his wife and says, I need to go now. Let me go to Damodar, I'll take some snan and come back. So there is in Junagadh, there is a Damodar Kund. If you visit Gujarat and if you plan to go towards Dwarka, in the Junagadh is a nice mountain is very historic significance, a lot of spiritual activity. There is a Damodar Kund where people go and bathe, even like even for if someone passes away, their ashes, they go and immerse in that as well. So then Krishna, he enters the Damodar and then he doesn't come back. Through Damodar he enters through Vishnu's Gauranga. So now, real Narasimha, he realizes it's too late now, I need to go home. Right? So he rushes home and then he sees his wife and says, I'm so sorry, I'm late. He's like, wait, what are you saying? You are here. What are you saying? Then he says, tell me what happened. Then wife in there, so you came, there were so many people help you to cook, you said we had gold plates, we had saris with gold threads and all that, and what are you saying? So then Narasimha understood. No one else can do this than Lord Krishna. Then he feels so bad. Then he tells his wife, did you say anything to him? So his wife says, I thought it's you. And then he feels, then he said, where did he go? He said like as usual, like you. He said, I'm going to Damodar to take bath and come back. So then Narasimha runs to the Damodar, and Lord Krishna is not there. So again he starts praying. Then Lord Krishna comes with Rukmani and Satyabhama and all of them, and he really, what do you call it? He pay obeisances and says, I'm so sorry, my wife could not recognize you, we all could not recognize you, how fallen I am. He said, now you have to come and eat with me. So then Lord Krishna, everyone comes to his house and they eat. Even Sudama calls his elder brother also. So imagine that Krishna coming to your house and they are honoring prasadam with you all. And this is the power of a pure devotee, right? Even sometimes, even if there is a one pure devotee in your family, they can liberate the whole family. Right? I think I'll just quickly, just last one. So, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin C, and now vitamin D. What does vitamin D stands for? Diet, devotional service, right? Let's say alright, so I just quickly go through this. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 5, Srila Prahlad Maharaj mentions very nice how to execute. He gives 9 processes of bhakti, how to execute the bhakti. Right, so I guess Hiranyakashipu, when Prahlad Maharaj returns from the demonic school, generally every parent will tell us what did you learn, right? And that's where Prahlad Maharaj mentions. Let me read this. Okay, you can recite with me. Shri Prahlad Vacha Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Shravanam Bhavasevanam Achanam Vandhanam Satyam Atmam Iti Pusam Vita Vishnu Bhakti Vishnu Lakshanam Uttamam. So again, Prahlad Maharaj gives us 9 processes of bhakti here, of devotional service. So the first one is Smarana, right? That is remembrance, right? Hearing. So just an example, we'll quickly go through this 9 different kinds of bhakti, right? And just look at quick examples from our history, from spiritual point of view. So Parikshit Maharaj, he attained perfection by just listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. Next one is Kirtanam. So who was reciting Srimad Bhagavatam for Parikshit Maharaj? Sukadeva Goswami attained perfection by reciting it. Next, Smaranam. So who was always thinking of the Lord? Prahlad Maharaj, right? And Pad Sevanam. Lakshmi, right? Lakshmi ji constantly massaging the Lord's feet. Right? Archanam. Worshipping the deity. Prithu Maharaj, right? And then Vandanam. Offering prayers. Akrura attained perfection by just offering prayers. Dasya. Hanuman, right? Just by rendering services, I just want to stress one thing on the services, right? I mean, a lot of people do service here. I mean, it's amazing to see a lot of devotees serving here together. So I was listening to one class by Radhanath Maharaj. So Radhanath Maharaj mentioned in that, everyone wants to see Krishna. Right? Everyone wants to see Krishna. But we should serve Krishna in such a way that Krishna wants to see us. Right? So whenever we serve together, I guess, our goal is to please Krishna. Our goal is not to please each other. Our goal is to serve Krishna. Right? So Dasya and Sakya, Arjuna, right? And Atmanivedana? Bali Maharaj. Yes, Bali Maharaj. Even Amrish Maharaj. I mean, he did all these 9 processes of bhakti. Right? All right. So we covered. So vitamin A is vitamin B, spiritual vitamin B. Right? B is good. Now, where do you get all that? There you go. Perfect. Very good. So when you come to this Sunday Feast program, you get everything. Right? So next time, if we recently had COVID, we all had to take the COVID shots and the booster shots. So on Sunday, when you're coming here, if somebody, where are you going? I'm going to ISKCON Roundup. Oh, why? You can tell them I'm going there for my booster shot. Right? So with that, I will end here. Thank you all for your time. Sorry, I went a little over time. Thank you.
Okay, we'll give 2 minutes for questions.
Yes, Pavli. I'm sorry, yesterday was appearance here from Ramanujacharya, but I did not have time to prepare for that. Yes, any more questions? Any comments? Not just questions, if any comments, I might have made some mistakes, so feel free to correct me. I mean, if you like something, it is blessings of my Guru Maharaj, Guru is Gauranga Maharaj, and for blessings of Krishna. If I made any mistakes, it's my fault.